Good Monday morning, everyone, and welcome into today's daily Bible reading for Monday, July the 14th. Today we are reading together Psalm number 86. Psalm 86 has been given the title in my Bible, Lament and Petition. We are told in the superscription that this is a prayer of David, which is kind of random, right? Because we haven't seen anything from David here in a little bit. We've been looking at some Psalms of the sons of Korah in Psalm 84 and 85, and that's what we're going to see again in 87 and 88. So it seems a little bit misplaced here, just a random Psalm a day, maybe nothing more than that. But it is also important, and I think I did not state this correctly earlier. This is a prayer of David. Most of his Psalms are identified as Psalms, but this specific one is a prayer. We're not given any sort of historical setting for the writing of this psalm, although I think we could probably tell from verse number 2 and also verse number 14 that there is some sort of attack that has been levied against David. So he is praying to God for that. I think there's some various elements here within the psalm. So there is some praise, there is some gratitude, there is some petition for help during a time of difficulty. But I think also this psalm breaks down pretty well, and I don't recall where I got this outline from. It's a little bit different. I was making some adjustments earlier from some previous notes that I have, but it breaks down well into, I don't know, one, two, three, four sections that focus on God's goodness, God's greatness, God's grace, and God's gifts. Obviously, if you know me, alliteration is not my strong suit, so I definitely did not come up with this myself. And again, I do not recall where I got this little breakdown with this great alliteration, but it's really easy to remember looking here at God's goodness, God's greatness, God's grace, and God's gifts. So hopefully you can see those and be able to trace those as we go throughout this psalm here in Psalm number 86. Let me get the text up on the screen for us, and we'll read along together here in Psalm. Nope, that's not what I want. Sorry about that. Press the wrong one. Let's see here. There we go. All right, there we go. Now we got the text up on the screen for us. Let's read along together here. Psalm 86, Lament and Petition, a prayer of David, beginning in verse number 1. Psalm 86 and verse number 1. Listen, Yahweh, and answer me, for I am poor and needy. Protect my life, for I am faithful. You are my God. Save your servant who trusts in you. Be gracious to me, Lord, for I call to you all day long. Bring joy to your servant's life, because I appeal to you, Lord. For you, Lord, are kind and ready to forgive, abounding in faithful love to all who call upon you. Yahweh, hear my prayer. Listen to my cries for mercy. I call on you in the day of my distress, for you will answer me. Verse number 8, Lord, there is no one like you among the gods, and there are no works like yours. All the nations you have made will come and bow down before you, Lord, and will honor your name. For you are great and perform wonders. You alone are God. Teach me your way, Yahweh, and I will live by your truth. Give me an undivided mind to fear your name. I will praise you with all my heart, Lord my God, and will honor your name forever. For your faithful love for me is great, and you rescue my life from the depths of Sheol. God, arrogant people have attacked me. A gang of ruthless men intends to kill me. They do not let you guide them. But you, Lord, are a compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger and abounding in faithful love and truth. Turn to me and be gracious to me. Give your strength to your servant. Save the son of your female servant. Show me a sign of your goodness, and my enemies will see and be put to shame, because you, Yahweh, have helped and comforted me. Psalm number 86. Psalm number 86. All right, let's get this off the screen. Let's look here at this Psalm. Psalm 86. Again, it begins with this petition, with this request that Yahweh hear David and answer him. And we see again that there is a poorness and a neediness in his current situation. He asks for protection for his life. Again, we go to verse number 14. We see that there are arrogant people who have attacked him. There's a gang of ruthless men who intend to kill him. And his request is that God would protect him here in this situation. Notice the basis of David's request. He says, "Protect my life, for I am faithful." I am faithful. We see throughout the rest of the psalm, or rest of this prayer, I should say, and psalm, I guess. We see Yahweh's faithful love being alluded to. We see it in verse number 5, whenever he speaks of Yahweh's character, kind, ready to forgive, abounding in faithful love. We see in verse number 13, "Your faithful love for me is great." Verse number 15, again, you're compassionate, you're gracious, slow to anger, and abounding in faithful love and truth. This faithful love, this has said, this covenant love and covenant loyalty that David displayed. I think that Yahweh displayed. I think David is calling on here, and he's saying that this is the same type of covenant love and loyalty that I have for you, Yahweh. So because I know of your faithfulness to me, and I know of your loyalty to me as your king, I feel comfortable and have the confidence to be able to call upon you to protect my life because of my faithfulness. So we have a reciprocation here of faithfulness, love, and loyalty between David and between Yahweh. And it seems to be the basis of David's ability to make this request of God, because he says, "You are my God. So save your servant who trusts in you." That's a sign, a manifestation of Yahweh's faithfulness is his trust, or excuse me, of David's faithfulness is his trust in Yahweh. The request, "Be gracious to me, Lord. Again, I call to you all day long. Bring joy to your servant's life because I appeal to you, Lord." Why is he appealing to God? Well, he's appealing to God based upon his faithfulness, based upon his goodness. Based upon his goodness. You, Yahweh, verse 5, are kind, ready to forgive. Again, bounding in faithful love to all who call on you. So hear my prayer. Listen to my plea for mercy. I call on you in the day of my distress, for you will answer me. Notice we see that multiple times here. Verse 3, I call to you. Verse number 5, that you are faithful. You're abounding in faithful love to all who call on you. Verse number 7, I call to you. All of these are in a difficult day. And notice the confidence. Notice the confidence here within this psalm. I call to you, for you will answer me. Confidence that David has in Yahweh's goodness to answer those who call upon him. And that's really what allows this to take place. It is God's goodness. And it is the confidence that David has in Yahweh that even moves him and leads him to call upon God, in this day of distress. And notice it seems like there's no other place to whom David would turn but Yahweh. There's no one else. No one else who he has confidence to hear him and to listen to him and to provide him what he needs. Speaking of no one else, look at verses 8 through 10. We see God's greatness here. Lord, there is no one like you among the gods. There are no works like yours of all the heavenly beings, of all those who exist in the supernatural spiritual realm. Yahweh, there's no one like you. And even the pagans, even the nations who worship pagan gods, they will be made to come and bow down to you, Lord, recognizing that you alone are truly the great I am. You are the great God. There's no comparison. You are great. You perform wonders. You alone are God. There is no comparison that can be made to the greatness of God in his character and in his ability and in his accomplishments. So how incredible it is then for this great God who is without compare to be so gracious to someone like David. Someone like David who came from nothing and was not a perfect man by any means, but again, he was a faithful man. He was a faithful man. He was one who was loyal to Yahweh. He sees God's grace in his teaching him his ways. Teach me your way, Yahweh, verse 11, and I will live by your truth. Again, it's not good enough. We talked about this yesterday. It's not good enough to just know things, but it is about applying those things that is seen, in which wisdom is truly seen. So teach me, but then I will live by them. I will apply them. Give me an undivided mind to fear your name. I will praise you with all my heart. Lord my God, I will honor your name forever, for your faithful love for me is great, and he rescued my life from the depths of Sheol. How many times have we seen that so far in the Psalter, in the various Psalms of David, where he speaks of Yahweh's deliverance of him, where he speaks of Yahweh redeeming his life, saving his life, bringing him back up from the depths. David sees this time and time again. Again, this is part of the confidence that he has in Yahweh, that he can call upon him and Yahweh will hear him and Yahweh will answer. So we get to verse 14, then we see again the kind of the situation that there are arrogant people who have attacked David. There's a gang of ruthless men who intend to kill him. This goes back to verse number 2, this request for protection, him being in a poor and needy state. David compares or contrasts himself with these men, or I guess these men with himself. They do not let you guide them. They're not like me. We go back to David talking about the type of character that he was striving to be. Someone who was faithful to him, someone who embraced Yahweh as God, someone who trusted in Yahweh. We see that's who he wants to be, or we see that's who he's striving to be. We see in verses 11 and 12 that he wants to be taught, he wants to be instructed, he wants to be guided in everything that he does, but that's not who these people are. Again, these wicked people, arrogant people, ruthless men, Yahweh, they do not let you guide them. They don't care about you. They don't respect you. They don't follow you. They're not loyal to you. They're not faithful to you. So here they are mistreating me. Probably, we probably assume for the fact that David was different than them. So he's not going to get any care. He's not going to get any concern. He's not going to get any compassion from his enemies. But whenever it comes to Yahweh, Yahweh, you are a compassionate and gracious God. Again, slow to anger and abounding in faithful love and truth. So we've seen God's goodness, the reason that David feels he can call out to Yahweh. And after all, he's not going to call out to anyone besides Yahweh because no one compares to Yahweh's greatness. And yet this great God is very gracious to this person, David, and he has confidence that Yahweh will then give him good gifts to deliver him here in this situation. So turn to me and be gracious to me. Give your strength to your servant. Save the son of your female servant. Here's humility from David. Again, referring to himself as Yahweh's servant, referring to himself as nothing more than the son of Yahweh's female servant. Humility here. The request is to show me the sign of your goodness. My enemies will see and be put to shame because you, Yahweh, have helped and comforted me. Here are the gifts of Yahweh, his turning to him, his giving David attention and giving David the needs that he has in this moment. There's the graciousness that he has. There's the strength that is given. There is the sign of his goodness. There is the shaming of his enemies. And here he is then, at the end of the day, recognizing that it is Yahweh who has helped him and comforted him in this day of distress. Again, where else is David going to turn? Who else can give him all the needs of his heart? Who else can extend him grace and love, loyalty and compassion but Yahweh and Yahweh alone? I think this psalm provides for us a wonderful example of what we should do in the same type of moments as well. Whenever we are in whatever might be a day of distress, whenever we are feeling poor and needy, whenever we need our lives protected or our faith protected or something protected, who better to turn to than the God who has no comparison, who is greater than anything else that is seen, anything else that is unseen. Nothing compares to him. His grace is greater and more amazing and more complete than anything we can comprehend. And he is a good God, a good Father who looks to give us great gifts of grace, gifts of strength, gifts of goodness, gifts of comfort. Like David, friends, we must turn to God and whatever our days of distress might look like. If you have any questions or comments about this psalm, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below here in Psalm number 86. And I do appreciate you taking some time reading along with me today on this Monday morning. Hope it kicks off your week in a great way and hope that you'll be back again on Wednesday as we read together a short psalm, only 7 verses, but a psalm about Zion, the city of God. We're back to Psalms of the sons of Korah, and I'm looking forward to reading that with you then. Take care and God bless.